Welcome to Vegas Circle Podcast with your hosts, Paki and Chris. We are people who are passionate about business, success, and culture, and this is our platform to showcase the people in our city who make it happen. On today's podcast, we got something special. We've actually are going to be discussing entrepreneurship and success with building companies and brands with the founder of Jersey Champs Environment and the host of Digital Social Hour. We got Mr. Sean Kelly, man. So welcome to the circle, brother.
Thanks, guys. I'm excited.
Good to finally make this happen, man. We've been tracking each other down, running into different events together. I went to your event back in January, but you've been doing some big things, man, like we were talking offline. So first, let's just talk about the genesis of the business idea of you starting Jersey Champs. So let's kind of start with there.
Yeah, those were the days, man. Early college days, broke, didn't know what to do, depressed. I mean, if we're being honest, felt pretty lost and never wanted to get a job for another company. And I never had a job. So I was pretty stubborn with that early on. And just finding out about drop shipping, this was in 2015, 2016. Back when it was hot. So you'll see as this interview goes on, a lot of my success is timing. So I'm really good at getting in industries at the right time. And back then, drop shipping was hot. So the Jersey company is how I made my first 6 figures in profit at a young age. Back then, it feels like a lot, right?
Yeah, but that's awesome to be able to just first start off. And you started that in Rutgers, right? You were actually in Rutgers University?
Yeah, in Jersey.
So you originally from New Jersey?
Yeah, I grew up there.
Yeah. So how did you actually end up in Vegas then?
Ended up in Vegas because I wanted to do what everyone wanted to do at the time, go to LA. Everyone thought that was the spot. For me, it was not the spot. I hated LA.
So how come?
Just the people mainly. This is kind of cliche, but the people. I'm from the East Coast, a different mindset. I went during the heart of the pandemic, so it was just dead, no events or anything. And it was expensive, man.
Yeah, it was.
It's kind of interesting you bring up, like, you never had a job, right? You knew immediately you wanted to be an entrepreneur. Where does that kind of stem from? Like, did you always thought that way, or was it something like spurred you into doing that?
Yeah, I think it was subconscious because my dad, even though he had a 9-to-5, he was an entrepreneur on the side, and I helped a lot with that company. He sold books online, and he was able to sell millions of dollars of books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we would go to book sales together. We would go to the dumpsters at the library. I would jump in there, grab books. We would sell them on eBay. And he made like $2 million in sales. And back then, that's crazy.
Like Jeff Bezos, like before Jeff Bezos.
Wait a minute. So he literally was doing Amazon back in the day, but through eBay.
Yeah, he was doing eBay and Amazon. This was when I was young, man, like 10 plus years ago.
Oh, wow.
Holy crap. How did he figure that out? Like, how would he figure out, hey, buy books and resell?
Yeah, first it was just a passion because he loved reading. He read about a book a day. He was crazy, super smart, genius IQ. So he just loved reading, and I think he somehow found a way to turn it into money, which is what I recommend people do.
So I was reading, so you've been pretty much an entrepreneur all your life, right?
Yeah.
And I saw something that was hilarious to me. I wanted to ask you about it. So you started off selling candy, right? In elementary school. Going into 7th grade, you got actually expelled from school.
Oh, wow.
From selling candy?
I still think about it.
And just for our listeners, you got to understand this. So Sean actually, from my understanding, and tell me this if the story's wrong. So you got suspended because he was making more money selling candy more than what the vending machines were doing. So they taking away that ROI. From my understanding, you got suspended from that. So that story's true?
Yeah, it's a haunting memory, honestly. I mean, I was in 5th or 6th grade, and I'm walking to the bus after school, and in one hand, bag of money. Other hand, I had a few candy bars left, so I'm just smiling, walking the bus. And this angry fat teacher is like walking next to me, and she's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "I sold candy. What do you mean?" She takes me to the principal's office, so I missed the bus. So now my mom has to come pick me up, and they end up, taking all my stuff. And then I think I either got suspended or expelled. It was crazy, man.
Wow.
They don't promote entrepreneurship.
It's kind of interesting. Yeah. You think they should actually make their pricing a little bit cheaper than the vending machines if you're over here able to sell all that stuff at the school. But it's telling about your personality, to be like that young and entrepreneurship that early, and kind of just carrying that over into college and ultimately your own businesses.
And that's something I thank my parents for, because I grew up in a wealthy neighborhood, middle upper class, but I never got an allowance, never got. All the kids in my school got their cars paid for, all their expenses paid for. I had to get it on my own,
That's what's up, man. So backing up a little bit, right? So you went to college. You actually dropped out of college to actually build Jersey Champs. Is that my understanding? So what was like the turning point to say, like, I know I could do this and build Jersey Champs and actually leave the school? Because that's hard to do.
Yeah, it was a very tough decision, especially because my mom stressed the importance of academics, grew up in an Asian household. So that was a big part of the lifestyle, getting good grades, going to the best colleges, getting, scholarships and stuff. But I think we're about 100K in sales when I made the decision.
Okay.
So, nothing crazy profit-wise, probably about 10, 20K.
Okay.
But I knew if I went full-time, I could probably live off what I made from it.
Okay.
Because I wasn't paying, if I moved back to my mom's house, I wouldn't have any crazy expenses, right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of the way I was thinking and, made the leap.
Yeah. Are you still running Jersey Champs now? Is it still up and running in the whole nine, or have you kind of taken a step back a little bit?
It's still running, but I don't run any paid ads. It's all organic now.
Okay.
I make a lot more money doing other ventures.
Yeah, sure.
I was gonna ask, you started there, right? Obviously, that was what kicked you off, and then ultimately, what made you want to transition to different environments instead of strictly just focusing on that? Is it like the want to just continue to grow? Because a lot of people would just make that their thing and just run with it.
Yeah, that's what I did for a while, honestly. So I did jerseys for about 4 or 5 years, but I noticed a ceiling. So with e-commerce, the margins are pretty thin, and the work you're putting in is a lot of work. 10 plus hour days. There's so many hats you have to wear in e-commerce: customer service, fulfillment, marketing. There's a lot of different hats you got to wear, and a lot of work put in for 10 to 20% margin.
Wow.
So I noticed I couldn't really make. Our peak year was, I think, 1.2 million, but I couldn't really pass that. So I was like, let me try some other stuff, and that's how I got into B2B stuff, podcasting, NFTs, crypto.
That's what's up. Yeah. What's your take now on education, right? So you, like you were saying, on there, coming from an Asian household, university's big. I mean, I'm college graduate, but what's your take now, being so young and being able to build all these businesses? Do you feel like people should go to school and maybe figure it out, or what would you suggest for them to be able to do in your thought process on education?
I mean, it's tough because as children, you don't really have a choice. I don't think you could just drop out. I'm pretty sure you need your parents' signature until you're 18 or something. But I love learning. I mean, but the thing with school is you're not learning about stuff you care about for most people.
I agree. Yep.
So I didn't even realize that till after I was done with school. I was like, holy crap, I just spent so much time. I thought I hated learning. I thought I hated reading. But it turns out I love it. I do it every day still to this day.
Yeah. I've noticed a lot more now. I mean, it's like you got all these master classes, right? We obviously interviewing you as an entrepreneur, you learn from podcasts and things like that. But it seems like to me, it would be pointless to spend, $50,000 or $60,000 for you to go to school when you can get almost education for free a lot of the times, right?
For free, or you could take that money, put in a mastermind. The money is the people you're around. So
for sure,
that's what I did at a younger age.
Yeah, it's almost like it's really depends on what you want to do. School is great for a lot. If you want to be a doctor, go to school. But if you're entrepreneurship, it's kind of tough because it really doesn't teach you how to be an entrepreneur. And I think me, at least, what I've learned how to grow up, you have to learn from other people like yourself who've done it, went through the tribulations, tried it out, and then figured it out.
Yep.
It's almost like what would you say your biggest learning point was from being an entrepreneur? Was it from having a mentor, the mastermind group, like you're saying, or is it just trial and error?
I like both, but what stands out to me is that first mastermind I joined because I was the youngest one in it. I just turned 21 years old. Everyone else is, 30s, 40s, 50s, all making multi-millions.
Yeah.
Because the cost of this mastermind was $100,000 to join.
Oh, geez.
So at the time, that was half the money I had to my name, and this was before taxes. So honestly, it was more than that. So I took a huge risk, right? So I show up, and everyone's introducing themselves the first night, and I'm just like, oh my God.
What mastermind was this?
100 million mastermind.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Dan Fleischman's.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it was just such a humbling experience because like the people I was hanging out with, I was like the top dog. But when I went there, I was a bottom feeder. I was, the most broke kid in the room.
Wow. Where'd you get the money to be able to do it? Because $100,000.
I was from Jersey Champs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I saved up, doing that for 2 years, I think. And then I used that money for the mastermind. And then from that mastermind, met some people, ended up making millions with those people.
It's all networking, man. Yeah. Relationships. The power of networking is just amazing. I mean, that's what I've noticed just with building podcasts is that you meet so many different people, and then the networking behind the scenes, like we were talking offline, it's like so many people, especially in Vegas, everybody knows everybody, right?
Yeah.
But then at that elite level, people want to do business deals a lot of the times. And if you spend $100,000, they know that you're serious too. So it kind of catches a lot of people's attention.
Yeah, it's definitely something I want to start one day, I think.
Yeah. So were you doing a little bit of masterminding, right? You were hosting, because I think I went to one of your events at CES, right, in January?
Yeah, I host meetups.
Meetups, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. So I've been doing those for 5-6 years. My first one in Jersey, it was in New York actually, 30 people came.
Okay.
And I was still talked to about 10 of them.
Okay.
And we're all like super successful now. So it's cool to see the journey, because back then we were all broke.
Yeah. What was the initial focus of doing that? Just networking to get people in the room and kind of
networking. And in Jersey, there wasn't really events. It's not like an entrepreneurial state, like kind of Vegas. I mean, Vegas has a lot of conferences.
Sure.
You know, a lot of inspiration here. But in Jersey, it's like a family state. Everyone's working corporate jobs. So being an entrepreneur there is pretty weird.
Okay.
So I got made fun of, bullied all throughout high school.
Interesting.
And just had to deal with it.
Yeah. What made you not stop to be able to do that? Because that's a lot, man, when you're dealing with bullying and you're dealing with a lot of folks.
No, I mean, definitely put on the brakes, if we're being honest, because didn't really reach my full potential until probably I moved out of Jersey. So yeah, looking back, it definitely put brakes, because you're just so scared of being judged.
Yeah. Especially nowadays, man, with social media. I mean, it's just everybody judged. Yeah, everybody just
it's even worse now, I bet.
Yes.
It's kind of, they always say it's sometimes, you have to get out of that environment, right? It's a stifling environment. Actually, I was watching a show or a podcast or something the other day, and they were talking about that. Like, a lot of times you have to go into a new place and reinvent yourself to really to maximize your potential. Because ultimately, like, it stifles you from not wanting to gamble or take a risk, because everybody around you is constantly judging you for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now it's like the point, like, who really cares, right? Like, I was looking at, I just had I'm not going to say what age it was, but I just had my high school reunion this past weekend, this past Saturday.
Nice.
And it was interesting. I really wanted to go. It's back east. And when I start thinking about it, a lot of the folks that I graduated with, you only talk to a small amount of people. So at the end of the day, it's like, who really cares? You just want to stay in your lane, man, and be happy with who the people you respect. That's what you really need to worry about.
Keep your circle tight.
That's 100%. And speaking of circle, right, I know you mentioned a little bit about mentorship, right? With us being a circle, who is in your circle that kind of holds you accountable? Is there people that you can bump things off of and kind of make sure that you're on point in the line and things like that? Or
yeah, there's been a few, and it changes as the problems get bigger or the money gets bigger. But yeah, mentorship in general, highly recommend, either a direct mentor or like being part of a group of brothers, some sort of conference, mastermind, whatever it is. It could even be like an online mentor too, just someone you watch videos of. Like for me, that's Alex Hormozy.
Okay.
I don't talk to him, but I watch all his videos. So that's a form of mentorship to me.
That's interesting.
I learned so much like that. You almost like getting mentored from a distance.
Yeah.
You can learn so much from people. So it's interesting because now I've seen that I kind of have this shopping cart method, right? Like you learn from so many different people, but when you go to the grocery store, you buy online, you kind of get what works for you and works for your family. That's how I kind of look at success and things like that, is you kind of pick what works for you and kind of build your own type of, personality and things. So it's awesome. So talk a little bit about the most significant lesson that you've learned in entrepreneurship.
Oh, that's tough. It's been a lot, man. I've been getting scammed a lot.
Is that right? Yeah. How so?
Yeah. Can't talk about one of them because he'll probably send, I don't know who after me.
Got it. Okay.
But Celsius, I lost a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lost $1 million there. It was like a thing where you would earn interest on your money. So that was a big lesson because I treated that like it was just a savings account, but ended up being a scam.
Celsius the drink?
Celsius the app.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's like a crypto wallet.
Yeah, those crypto wallets, it's kind of hard because, in one way, being a forward thinker, you have to jump into those trends a little bit early, but then it opens you up for exposure because now you're kind of in a situation where you want to be at the, precipice of it blowing up. But as you learn from those things, how do you prevent those things from happening in the future?
Yeah, I mean, so I was in the crypto space. We were all printing money during that bull run, like life-changing money. Yeah. So it got to the point where, I mean, this is all paper money, so it doesn't really feel real. But I had $20 million in crypto.
Okay, but still, $20 million, that's not, that's a ridiculous amount of money.
It's ridiculous, but it doesn't mean anything unless you cash it out, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
So I didn't. So I lost pretty much all of that. So that was a huge wake-up call. And so that happened to a lot of people I knew. The numbers were relative, anywhere from millions to tens of millions. But a lot of people got wrecked, man. And that was probably the biggest lesson I learned in the past few years.
We're going to talk offline. That'll make you want to hurt. That's a lot, yeah.
And that's where mindset kicks in, right? Because, obviously that I was depressed for a bit and it hurt, but some people are still not recovered from that mentally. And this was 2 years ago. But I told myself, dude, I need to bounce back. That's when I got into podcasting. I knew I needed to do something.
Just stepping back for a little bit. I mean, $20 million. Can you talk a little bit about how that works, man? So that's is it done? I mean, is crypto pretty much done in your perspective, or?
So in the coins I had that in, there's a very small chance I'll ever get back to that because they're called altcoins. Okay. But in terms of Bitcoin, Ethereum, the main like 3 to 5 coins, those always come back. I mean, over time, we'll see if it does. But over time, the past 10 years, it has always come back.
I don't think they're going anywhere. But to your point, I think everybody was making so much money so quickly, and a lot of those altcoins during the pandemic. So you could literally put $1,000 and overnight, next thing you're making $1 million. Then, but
any coin,
anyone, it was wild.
I remember there'd be days where I'd make like 6 figures in a day, just not even doing anything.
And the problem is like they're not super liquid, so like they're buying and selling, so it looks inflated, but you can't really convert.
You can't really take it out like you.
So the one I had actually was, which is
that's even better.
Which was crazy. Like I could have actually
that one hurts. I'm gonna hurt me just thinking about that.
Could have pressed 2 buttons and had 20 million.
Man, that would hurt
because it was a top 100 coin.
Well, that's a good learning experience, and not one that you want to pay for, but.
So you must put a lot of like. Keeping your circle tight, your circle must be extremely tight. Just super tight, screwed like that. So
yeah, super tight. I mean, I could count on one hand who I would consider in my circle.
I'm with you. When we first started off, I won't go too much far in it, but me and Chris been cool for a long time. But you know how it is when you're building business. I mean, people take advantage, and people have different side stories. So it's unreal. What makes you trust that person now? Is it do they have to show you something, or what is it?
That's tough. In any business, because once the money starts coming in, people change. So now I just set really clear expectations because I've sold 2 companies now, and this happens every time when a company starts getting successful. People start asking for more and more, but they're not producing the output that you are. And they want to treat it like 50-50. So that's like a pet peeve of mine. Like, so now I realize part of it was my fault for not communicating clearly from the start, right? Some people are just out here wanting handouts. So now I make that clear whenever I enter a business partnership, the terms beforehand.
Smart, extremely smart. You were talking a little bit about learning, right? Like you're learning online, things like that. Do you read a lot too? Is there books that you're reading or currently that you can recommend for entrepreneurs? Or
I'm an audiobook guy. Was never a reader. My attention span is too short.
I'm with you there.
I'm with you. Yeah. What would you recommend right now that's been an impact for you?
The biggest one that impacted me, where I saw a direct result, I'm all about like being able to take action on what I'm ingesting, was 100 Million Offers. Not the second one.
Okay.
The first one.
I've heard of that. I've heard of the first one.
Yeah. So he just released a second one, 100 Million Leads, which is also good.
Okay.
But I thought 100 Million Offers for me was great. And it was also what I mentioned earlier, the timing. I had a business at the time where that book really applied to it. Okay. And I was able to directly make $1 million off that book.
That's a strong statement, man. If I listen, that's extremely strong. In how long of a period, just from learning that?
6 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was the crypto marketing agency I had at the time.
Okay.
And the book taught you how to make an incredible offer that's so good that the person feels like really dumb saying no to it, basically.
Okay.
And it's a great book.
You probably read that.
That
sounds like your alley for sure.
Because the one challenge I have personally, like when you're trying to translate a book, I'm an avid audiobook listener as well. I listen to strictly entrepreneurship book, but I'm not really good at making them actionable, right? And I think you in this situation that you referred to is that you were able to make that actionable. Like, did you do that through trial and error? Or was it for you easier just like hear it, read it, and then implement?
So I hear it, and when I hear something that I think I can implement in my business right away, I'll literally stop the book and do it that moment. Because the thing is, when you don't, you'll like forget about it, or at least write it down if you're doing something like driving. But yeah, you got to take action right away because there's so many people that just read, but they don't take action.
Yeah. That's me. I'm not that
guy. Shots fired. Yeah, that's all right. That's okay. But you learned a lot from that. So a little bit about, you were talking about podcasting, right? So you've done extremely well. I don't know if you want to say how far back you are on podcasts, but I've been very impressed what you've been able to do, with your current digital social hour. So you're starting in January, 9 months, killing the game.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that and why you started it?
Yeah. I mean, I always wanted to, but I was just making excuses. Okay. And I felt like it paid off to wait though, because my network was way bigger when I did start. If I started when I was younger, I wouldn't have the knowledge or the connections. Sure. So I'm kind of thankful I built up a resume, and it gives me credibility when I'm interviewing people. They know I'm not just some random kid, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting for me because I'm used to making money right away. And that's not the case with podcasting.
Not at all. Yeah.
So I was not profitable for the first, I think, 6 months.
Okay.
$100K I spent on studios, editing, marketing, figuring everything out, right? Because I didn't really have a direct podcast mentor, which probably would have saved me money and time. But then it started clicking about 7 months in, YouTube money, sponsors started coming in. Now we're making $100K a month off the podcast.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, so awesome. It's been fun. And there's one show that I'd credit my success to. It's called Entrepreneurs on Fire.
Okay.
So they publish all their financials. They let you study what they're doing. They make $2 million a year, and they've done that for 8 years straight.
Wow.
So I kind of studied their business model, implemented some things into mine, and it really helped me.
Okay. Who's been, I know you probably don't want to say, but who's been, I guess, the biggest guest that you've learned the most from, I guess you would say? Because it's hard to pick one guest that you've had that's your best, but.
Wow. So in terms of health, Gary Brecka.
Gary's a beast. Yeah. I was just listening to Dana White talk about Gary Brecka.
He's a beast. I did the blood test, did the gene test.
Oh, you actually did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Paid for it. Found out I was allergic to some stuff. Found out I had some major deficiencies.
Wow.
Because as a young kid, you think you're invincible, but like looking back, I used to get sick every month. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I just thought it was normal because I worked so hard. But my vitamin C levels were super low. Okay. And vitamin D.
You know, it's funny. We got a mutual friend. I don't know if you know Colin Fukunaka. That owns Fuku Burger.
Oh, okay.
He's big on that too, close with Dana and everything. But he took it and he looks absolutely amazing.
Everyone that took it looks amazing.
Yeah, he got it. I'm like, what happened? Yeah, so fast too.
Colin gave me the whole setup. He's the whole thing that Dana did.
Yeah.
He went to UFC, obviously right here, and met with him. He showed him the whole setup. Colin looks like 20 years younger.
And fast too. Like he did like super quick.
Yeah, he's in amazing shape. So, but what did you learn the most from Gary Brecka?
It was mainly just fixing the deficiencies naturally, which I like, right? He's not a fan of any of these medications that have a lot of side effects, and I align with that philosophy. Okay. And then just sauna, grounding, barefoot on grass. So now I ground every day since I met him. So I do that. There's levels though. Like he sent me his whole setup. It costs over $100K.
Jeez.
Yeah, all these fancy machines. So there's definitely levels to it.
Okay, shout out to Collins. So Collins for some money. Okay, I didn't know it was that much. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Talk a little bit about Environment by Impact. Is that a new company that you started recently? Or?
So when I was younger, I was big on Instagram. That's how I used to sell my jerseys, actually. I would pay pages to post it. Okay. They were called shout-outs.
Okay.
And a lot of pages, businesses were selling the usernames, right? So you could buy the LLC and it would come with the username.
Okay.
So I stacked up about 10, 15 really good handles.
Okay.
And Environment was one of them.
Okay.
So sold that company. Never really did anything with the page. Just I saw them as domain names, those usernames.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah.
Because every once in a while, a brand will come with some money and offer you some good money.
That's a hell of a
So you have like the handle at Environment?
I had Environment. I had OCD, Delicious, Edible.
Oh, man, you must have been real early on.
Surfer. Biochem, a bunch of them. Bought a ton of.
Like Barbara with Circa.
Yeah.
Barbara sold Circa to the hotel. Which
he did?
Yeah, one of our friends, Marvin, we had on the podcast. So he had that for like 10 years.
Exactly.
He did it. So that's a hell of a smooth business. So just buying URLs.
Yeah, people make a lot selling domains.
That's I think
I always thought about domains. I just never
right?
thought about for like social handles. Like domains that was kind of common, but really Instagram or social handles are never one that you really think about.
They're important though. I just saw the guy that owned X on Twitter. He offered them $1 million, but then they just took it from him.
I heard that.
Yeah, you saw that?
So they just bulleted and took it?
Elon Musk like, I'll just take it.
Yeah.
Because he owns the company, so he just took the name.
That's hilarious.
Because it'd be cheaper to pay him like a legal fee probably.
Yeah, versus doing that. That's amazing. So with us being a business podcast, right, you've done a lot, right, in this period. What would you say to somebody that wants to get in business for themselves right now? They're thinking of it and they're scared or whatever the situation is. What would you share with them?
Like a podcast or a business?
Just business in general, or maybe it's podcast, but business in general is what I would say.
Yeah, I'd say for the podcast business, I would do the mentorship route.
Okay.
Or at least a mastermind, get some ideas, see where people are making a lot of money at, get a good idea for your value, because every person has a skill, right? So it's all about maximizing that. And my skill was connecting the dots. So I'm really good at connecting people. And that's why the podcast works so well. That's why I have those events. So find your skill, figure out how to monetize it. And that'll always lead. That's what my dad did with books.
Okay.
And I feel like people should kind of follow that route, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great advice for sure. So we're transitioning a little bit. We always talk about restaurants in Vegas. What's your favorite restaurant in Vegas?
Oh, that's tough, man.
Give us a gem, man.
I like Chinese food. So I'm going to say, does price matter?
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Any place that you could recommend in Vegas. Yeah.
That's tough. I really like Mizumi.
Mizumi's good.
I'm kind of biased because the chef came on the show, but he was telling me his sushi's like some of the highest quality. I also like Wing Lei a lot.
Wing Lei, I don't know.
I've seen that one. Where's that one at?
It's at the Win.
Oh, that's at the Win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so the Win. All the
See, I'm biased.
That's what you said. Okay, I got it. I got what you said. Yeah.
But in terms of like good value, I'd say China Mama's good.
You know, I think they just did a redevelopment or something, right?
Yeah.
I'm so mad I have not been there before.
What?
I have not, and I'm mad at myself. I heard China Mama's.
Where's that at too?
It's right across from Fuku Burger, literally. Chinatown. Right
I like Fuku Burger too.
Fuku Burger is great with Colin, but the China Mama I've heard nothing but great things
about. Check that out.
But I think they closed down for a little bit and just did a redevelopment.
Fire, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they had a fire?
At the first one, yeah.
Oh, shit, okay, I didn't know that. You gave some good ones, man. Some Mizumi, China Mama, and what was the other one?
Wing Lei.
Wing Lei, okay. Gave us some gems. And then I'm just going to say this just because I know her. Did you recently go to Golden Steer?
Oh, I was supposed to go tonight, but my girl got sick.
Oh,
I was pumped. Have you been there?
Well, we had a man on the show, too, that owns Golden Steer.
Oh, nice.
But I love it. It's great.
Yeah,
great food.
I was pumped. So I definitely want to go. I had to cancel the reservation.
Yeah, I never heard a bad experience there.
Golden Steer is good.
Nice.
Yeah, really good. Shout out to Amanda. But what else are you focused on, man, for let's say for 20? I know you're behind on the podcast. You're trying to make those happen. Just for our listeners, this gentleman's 6 months behind, killing it.
Yeah.
With your podcast. But what else are you focused on for 2023?
That's the main focus. I mean, I like to really focus on one thing at a time. But I do have a couple side things. I made some good money off ERC.
I don't even know what ERC is. Yeah.
Employee retention credit.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, have you heard of that?
I have. Yeah. Where you get like $25,000 per employee.
Yeah, it was like, I forgot the number. Yeah, I should probably know.
I didn't know it was called that, but now I know what it is. Yeah.
But like I said, I'm really good at connecting the dots, and that's how I've always made my money. So yeah, I was able to find business owners that didn't claim it, connect them with a really good accounting firm, and made some really good money doing that.
Okay. Yeah, so I think from what I've understood, from what I've understood is you get money from the government per employee from that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I sent a few big businesses, so there was some good affiliate commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
I ain't messing around, man.
Yeah.
We don't talk offline some other stuff you do, so that's great, man. No, it's an absolute pleasure to sit down with you, man, just to understand kind of how you work and how your mind works. What else did we forget to ask you at all? Anything else you want to share?
Nah, I mean, that was good. You guys killed it.
I appreciate it, Sean.
Yeah, it was a good talk.
What's your social handles people can reach out to you at?
Yeah, Sean Mike Kelly on Instagram is the best one.
Pay attention to this guy, man. He's doing some amazing things, man. So we appreciate you hanging out with us, man.
Thanks,
Good stuff.
man.
Great stuff. Yeah.